Welcome to another episode of the School Shoots Podcast, episode number 19. We are in March, and the madness is here.
The madness is here,
And it's
but
here
we got a special guest to announce that's joining us this week. Shout out to my boy Jamal, the Kawhi Leonard lover. You know what I'm saying? The Russell Westbrook, the Russell Westbrook apologist and avid New York Knicks fan. What a combination that is, right? But no, all jokes aside, welcome Jamal. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have you on. And we're excited to get into some hoop talk and some conversation, hopefully some hot takes. As you know, offline, me and you have debates all the time. Glad to have you on, man.
Yeah, definitely appreciate you guys having me on, and we definitely gonna talk. We're gonna talk about some stuff.
Listen, I know you've been waiting. You know, the Lakers. Yeah. Anywho, Eric, take it over.
All right, so as you all know, what's happening right now, the college basketball is on full deck this week. We got conference tournaments going all around the major conferences, smaller conferences. This week is called championship week for a reason. Now you have the big teams, the big conferences playing right now. We got bubble teams losing earlier this week, sweating it out till Sunday. Like teams like Wake Forest yesterday, Xavier losing to Butler. Michigan and Indiana had a barn burner earlier today with Indiana winning. They're on the bubble. Michigan's on the bubble. BYU lost last Saturday early in the tournament. Now they got to wait until Sunday. So there's a lot of moving parts coming up this week in college basketball. Also looking at who's going to be the number one seed overall. We all know it's going to be Gonzaga. They won the conference tournament, the West Coast Conference, back on Monday. They look dominant. They're going to be the number one overall seed, probably in the West region. So look out for that. Also look out for Arizona, Kentucky. Baylor lost earlier tonight to Oklahoma State in the quarterfinals in the Big Ten.
That was a big loss.
That was a big loss. So now Baylor, they're going to be on they're in question for number one seed, which means can Kentucky, Kansas, Auburn, can they move up and win and get to the number one seed? We'll find out about that. Also,
I just want to say real quick, and it could be me. I could be going out on a limb, but I personally think Duke is overrated, and because of the pressure of Mike Krzyzewski and his last year and all this stuff, legit every game going into the tournament.
Oh yeah,
and every game, every round, whatever. As far as they get, every game is going to be so much pressure on them because they gotta win for Mike. Like they gotta win for Mike, and I just don't think, they're going to run the table as people anticipate them to be. So, and I just think there are better teams out there than them as well.
They definitely do have the talent, though. So I mean, if it did happen, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. But they definitely do have the talent.
It's just, you know what it is, though, Maul? It's just like those one and done game situations, man. Like anything can happen in those situations. So it's just they have the talent. Like if they were in an NBA setting, 7-game series, whatever, against another college team, talent would supersede that. But like in a one game, if Pablo has a bad game or if Williams has a bad game, like you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Trevor Keels have a bad game.
That's just how it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's just it's very tricky in a one game scenario that it could just be over. So and plus you couple that with the pressure of trying to win for Mike and his last year coaching. It would be a very feel good story. Something to celebrate and write about. But I don't know, man. Like I don't see it, especially after like watching them today against Syracuse. I'm
man.
like if you get physical with them, and they got like Syracuse has size, and they didn't even play with Boeheim. So if Boeheim played, who's you could kind of say was one of their best players,
right?
They had a legit chance, I would say, to beat them today. So I don't know, and I think there's just a lot of pressure on Duke. That game against North Carolina the other day was telling for me.
Very
telling,
so,
and also. Sorry, Maul.
No, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So I was saying, like, give it a scenario, like Duke plays like a Cornell or one of those, or a Sydney or South Dakota State, like one of those teams that are from like smaller conferences. Those teams are dangerous. You know why? Because they can shoot and they have big men. They can defend. And if you get one of those teams and
they got
Duke
nothing
has
to
a
lose,
bad
man.
game, those teams got none to lose, and they start getting hot. We see it every single year. These 14 seeds, 13 seeds, 12 seeds, 15 seeds. We had a 16 blow out a 1 seed in the first round a couple years ago with Virginia and UMBC. You never know how these games go, so that's why, and that's why you never know about this tournament. Is so fascinating, and that's why it's so popular and it's the name cashing of March Madness, because it's literally madness.
Yep. And I think some of these bigger teams that have all this talent, that kind of comes twofold. It's like you got the talent to win, and people expect you to win, but it also messes things up when it's like we were saying, a one and done situation. That's why I think where it comes with like Duke and where we've seen with like Kentucky and stuff, like it's a lot of stars on the team. There's a lot of talent, but like when it's time to go, who's the guy to go to get the ball? Who's the guy to shoot? Who's the guy to rebound, get a stop? So when you don't have those roles identified, it gets pretty sticky. So I'm excited about it though.
Yep.
I think as all basketball fans are every year.
And plus also it's more of, okay, we're not afraid of the team because of the school name. Like you just give a perfect example. Last year you had Oral Roberts, a 15 seed, go to the Sweet 16 because he had that one player, Max Eastman, who scored 25 points, 30 points, 35 points. Like you and like any high seeded team from a power conference got one bad game, one bad half, it could cost them. So and especially in these conference tournaments where you have these teams who have a losing record, they're not projected to be into the tournament. They get hot on the four game stretch, 5 game stretch, and they could win it and get into the tournament, and then ride that wave. So it's a whole lot of variables that comes with this week, and that's why you get these crazy games, the buzzer beaters. We had coming up already. We have a handful of them earlier today and yesterday.
Yeah, the Arizona game too.
The Arizona game.
And what's good about college basketball, at least now, or I would say the way it's trending is that, like, normally you would have these like one and done players stacked up on one team. You kind of knew, for the most part, right? Like, all right, most of these guys, Kentucky and Duke and North Carolina, they were going to run the table and probably get to the Final Four. Now you have more seasoned kind of, students, right? Athletes, who's been on their teams for like, I would say 2 to 3 years. So they're more seasoned. The team's a little bit more balanced now because a lot of those, one and done guys are going via the G League because they can get paid a little bit more, and they can get that NBA experience kind of early on, coming out of high school. So the I think it's done well with the NIL stuff and having the athletes being paid, because it kind of gives an option for the athlete coming out of high school, can I try to go pro, or should I stay in the institution? Normally, if you have those two choices, if you're gonna go pro, you're nice enough to play in the league, you're gonna just do that. But like if you're on the cusp and you're not, and you don't know like what your draft stock is looking like, or you're uncertain rather. I think now, because you can still kind of get compensation for your liking, you tend to kind of just, all right, I'm gonna stick with this and develop my game and kind of get better, because I'm getting paid to do it. I'm not like feeling the pressure of being rushed to leave school to take care of my family. In most cases, this is the issue, right? So I think it's actually been better, and the NCAA did this a long time ago because they've been stealing money, as you know. for years on end from these
A lot of
kids.
under the table deals.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's insane.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane.
Presidents
You
and
know?
head coaches getting millions.
Yep.
Yeah, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, I like the direction college basketball is trending to. And I think this will actually evidently help the league down the line because they're going to get a lot more seasoned players to enter the draft. So I think it's going to be exciting. As Jamal said, it's going to be exciting tournament coming up. There's going to be a lot of upsets and a lot of like surprising things that we thought we weren't going to see, and we actually will. So I'm excited for it.
I predict that there's going to be. I mean, I don't know what the number is. I didn't look it up, but like I predict there's going to be either close or the most upsets we've seen this year. Just because of what you're saying, basketball or college basketball is trending in a direction where like you don't really have a sought after favorite this year. It's been like that for the last, I want to say like year or two, but like it's trending to where like everywhere is pretty even. I mean, if you are on a mid-level D1 team, like you could make some noise and beat a few of these bigger schools like I don't know, Auburn, Illinois, Wisconsin. If you got the right day, right time, you have the talent. So I really do think this year is going to have a bunch of upsets that we're not going to expect. It's going to be all over the place.
And that's why they call it March Madness.
Facts.
Yeah. So I believe that I said last week, I think there's going to be a whole lot of upsets once you get to the NCAA tournament. I said also Gonzaga is going to be the number 1 overall seed, but I can see them getting picked off by a right team, probably in the Sweet 16 or probably maybe to Elite 8. But more than likely, I really like them in get to the Final Four. But also it depends on who's in their region. We'll find out on Sunday.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's me, but Selection Sunday is probably one of the more anticipated days in sports because it's like you have like 64, like at least 69, 68, 70 schools like sitting and waiting for the name to get called. 31 is already in because they won the conference tournaments, but it's gonna be the other 37 teams that's gonna be waiting for their names to be called, and especially those last 6 teams that are like on the bubble, like what I mean by on the bubble is like they're like on the cut line of getting in or getting out, depending on the record, who you play, who you beat, your strength of schedule, all those metrics, all that. But it's like so fascinating. That's why this week is so compelling because it leads up to Sunday and the whole drama, the anticipation of okay, the team. If your record is if your record is okay, but you're still struggling, you're trying to get wins late in the season, and you lose early. Now you got to sit for a whole week and wait till Sunday, and you got to watch other games and root for other teams to hopefully play their way out, or hopefully not to get your bid stolen. Because more than likely with this week, most of the time teams play their way out of a tournament instead of playing their way in.
Yep.
Because it's there's like so there's and plus it's pressure, and also there's so many teams with like so little spots left. If you really break down the numbers, it's like you can like this year. I'll give you the perfect example: Wake Forest, Xavier, Michigan, BYU, and there's another team that's on that bubble line. Anyway, so I'll give it those 4 teams. Those teams are considered bubble teams. All those teams lost early and lost today, so now they got to sit and wait. You got to root for teams that are favored to win their conference tournament, so their bids won't get stolen. Or also they got to root for other bubble teams to lose out, so hopefully they can move up into the last into those last spots.
Facts.
So I love this time of year. It's fascinating, and Sunday it all comes to end come Sunday at 6:00.
Right.
Yeah, for real. Before we move on to the next topic, give me your teams that you think will make the Final Four. I know it's like super early, and we have yet to see all the conference championships to be completed. But
yeah,
kind of give me the feel out of what you think the Final Four would look like.
That's tough though. I was about to say also the one of the best parts, obviously outside of seeing all the bubble teams that make it and teams that don't make it, but it's usually finding out who's in your bracket or region,
Right?
Because that could literally turn your whole March Madness or your tournament upside down if you're in the wrong bracket. So if like I don't know, like you're saying, Gonzaga catches a number 1 seed, let them fall into a bracket that has like I don't know, freaking Illinois, where they might have to play Illinois in the 3rd round. Like that'll be
That'll be
to them.
insane.
Yeah,
that'll be insane, man.
So it's to me that's like one of the best parts. It's like looking at those matchups
or you
that
get a
fall
Purdue
early.
Or you get a Purdue.
You catch a Purdue early and not understand what's going on. You was a number 1 seed. You're supposed to have the best overall record or the best team in the country, and you fall into a trap. So I think that's one of the best things. But for me, one team that I do really, really pay a lot of attention to and try to I'm pushing for, one is Illinois because I actually know one of the guys on there. And then the other one is Iowa. Like I'm shooting for those 2 teams, make some noise and push a little bit into the tournament. So let's see. Hopefully,
man, I like the Iowa pick because Iowa's been sneaky lately. For me, UCLA, something about them.
I was gonna say them.
Remember last year. Remember
exactly.
last year they were the last teams
exactly.
in, and then they
lost
got all the way to the Final Four.
So
lost the buzzer in the Final Four.
And this is why I think this is my like sleeper pick to win it all because of what happened last year, and like they kind of never fell off. Like they actually gotten better. So like you got the likes of Baylor and obviously UCLA, Kansas, Duke, all that. Gonzaga. Most of the teams are going to be number 1. But I got a sneaky feeling that coming out that West region because I believe UCLA will lock up the West. UCLA will come out. That'll be one of the teams in the Final Four.
Yeah. I also was going to pick UCLA just because of the events that took place last year, losing at the buzzer. I feel like they're going to be on the mission, man. They're just going to be hungry this year to get back to that spot where they need to be. The other 3 teams that I had Auburn. I had
Purdue. Auburn to me, I think they're gonna lose early, bro.
Guards, I don't like their guards at all.
Yeah, they're not consistent, man. I think Auburn loses. I think they're front runners, low key.
Their guards, I don't like. Katie Johnson, he could get a little erratic, man. Trust me.
But also too, Eric, like with Auburn, like not for nothing, that SEC man is not as robust.
It's not. There's no pushover.
Right.
No pushover.
You know what I'm saying? So like I don't know, like Auburn. I see where you're going, Armani, but I don't know, man. Like those I don't know. They've been inconsistent.
That was 3 I gave y'all, right?
Yeah.
I said Auburn, UCLA, Purdue, and Wisconsin.
Wow. So no Kansas, no
Gonzaga,
Duke, no Gonzaga, no Baylor.
Wow.
Yikes.
Wow.
Yo, that's the name of the game when it comes to these tournaments, man. It's always the sleepers that creep through,
Man,
like
you know what? George Mason making it. Let's go.
Remember back in 06, he did. Remember George Mason back in 06, they weren't even supposed to make it in.
Yeah, they weren't. Yep.
And then they like went and then they made it to the Final Four and they beat UConn on the way. Like what?
Yep.
I'm still trying to figure out. Okay, so here's my Final Four teams. I still like Gonzaga coming out the West, depending on if they're gonna be in the West bracket. I'm surprised none of y'all mentions his team. Kentucky.
Yeah, I was.
Oscar Tshiebwe is a rebounding machine, man. Like, come on. Dude averaging
Kentucky
like 15 to 20 rebounds. I watched this team a lot this past year. They're solid.
Eric, I totally understand. But there's one issue why I can't trust Kentucky, and that's the coach, unfortunately.
Calipari factor.
When's the last time he delivered? Was it the last time he delivered? He had exactly. He had to have a top player in the country in order to do that. So
also 2014, they were 8 seed. They beat 1 seed Wichita State in the Midwest and went to the Final Four with that team.
Right.
with Julius Randle and the Harrison twins.
Mhm.
Remember?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah. What a
But
time!
he's proved Calipari,
Exactly.
that is. Calipari's proved to do better with less
Well,
talent. If that makes sense.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Because
That's true.
Kentucky always gets talent, but like
he's
less
never
talent.
won. But he's never won with that lesser talent. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I get it.
I
you
mean,
really think about it. Like,
I mean, you could look at it as that that
To me,
Anthony
there's
Davis team wasn't the best talent he's ever had. That was probably one of the worst ones.
but
They were.
Anthony Davis is one of the greatest college players
Well, yes,
ever.
that one guy. Yes,
Anthony
that one
Davis.
guy.
That Anthony Davis. The
That
Lakers.
Anthony Davis-
That's what the Lakers
All right,
need. That
okay,
Anthony
all right,
Davis.
all right, all right. We're not going to go there.
All right,
We're not
all
doing
right.
this right now. All
All
right,
right.
we're not doing
Oh,
this.
man.
All right, so I can.
Now,
Okay. All right.
Jamal, give me your final four,
no,
please.
no.
If not, ever gonna put me in a place I don't like to be in.
I didn't finish my other two. I didn't get my other two. So I had Gonzaga. I got Kentucky. I like Arizona to get there. And my fourth one, it's gonna be a surprise. I like UConn.
Ooh. Ew, I can't get on. I'm trying.
I know.
I don't know if I can get on board with that, man.
Okay,
UConn,
or I like Villanova to get back there.
I was gonna say, like, I'm more so on the Villanova boat if you're gonna go that route. Like, UConn.
Because to me, UConn is just more of if they end up like a 4 seed or 3 seed, I'm good. If they end up in the 5 seed, I don't know, because a 12 seed always beats a 5 seed in these tournaments every single year.
Yeah.
So depending on who they play, who they match up, but I like UConn, and right now they're beating up Seton Hall right now in the first half. So that's one of my picks.
Michigan State. Don't sleep on them either. You know,
I know they've been struggling as of late, though.
They have, but you know,
Tom Izzo.
Yeah, man. You know, he knows how to coach in those moments.
He's only won one national championship. So with the team Cleves in that crew back in 2000.
That's true. That is true.
It's been like 22 years since he won the championship. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep. My 4. So like I was saying, I'm pushing for Illinois, just because I got some family over there on that side. So I'm pushing for them. Let's see if they could, make a little push. But the other ones for me is I'm huge on Baylor's team, especially within the last couple years. They've done a really good job recruiting guys that
program is
willing to buy in. Yeah, willing to buy in, play their role.
Talk about a turnaround.
Yeah, especially. Yeah, and it's weird because at least looking from the outside looking in, the girls team has always done pretty well at doing recruiting and like getting players to like buy in and do things the correct way. It was weird that it took so long at the men's side to get it together.
Like, how many times that Baylor women's team went undefeated and won championships? Like, seriously.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was weird. I feel like when it's in the building or in the at the institution, like it should just trickle down. But I'm pushing for them. So Illinois, Baylor. I'm on the bandwagon with Villanova, and I think Purdue is gonna surprise people with how dominant they are. They play ball the right way, they move the ball around. I'm pretty confident in what Purdue can do. But me saying that, they'll mess around and lose in freaking second round. So
and that's been their MO every year, bro. They produce good big men. You know what I'm saying? They have solid guard play, but like they can never put it together when it's money time. So and yeah, man, I think, look, at the end of the day, we're gonna have some exciting things coming up for NCAA. So everyone is listening, tune out.
And yes, we can do our brackets.
Yes, we will be having brackets, and we'll be revealing them, and let you guys comment. And I'm gonna have some crazy ones for sure, because I have a small love for Texas. I feel like Texas is another sleeper. So we'll see. But moving on, real quick, I want to get your guys' reaction on the most anticipated game this week, which was the 76ers versus the Brooklyn Nets.
What a stud it was.
Ass whooping.
Yes.
Total dud.
I had an issue, and I'm going to address this man by the name of Kendrick Perkins. When the Sixers got, James Harden, does everyone know James Harden's like track record? Everyone knows he's a great player, but everyone knows, like, in the big moments, he just doesn't like to show up. So he came out, they had their first game against Minnesota. Oh, they coming out like world beaters, and they looking great. Then they played the Knicks twice. Oh, they look great. Oh, they're smacking the Knicks around.
Remember, we said this last week.
I said, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Kendrick Perkins comes out and he says, this is the best duo we've seen since Kobe and Shaq. And then he retorts that statement and then says, you know what? I made a mistake. They look like Magic and Kareem. And I'm just like, wait a minute here. Like, listen.
That's shock value.
Yeah, of course. It's clickbait. It's clickbait. But, at the end of the day, like, I always say this, like, let the players be the best version of themselves and not compare them to the greats that we've seen. But we all know James Harden, when the money is on the line, he only shows up when it's at the strip club. We know this about Mr. James Harden. This was a prime example of that. This game was a high-profile game, and he did not show up. He started off 1 for 11 in the first half. KD, and I told Cats, Jamal even told us in our chat, I said, KD's going to come out on the mission. The Nets are going to get up for this game, and they're going to smoke the Sixers because everyone is all about the Ben Simmons factor and this, that, and the third, and people are forgetting, like, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are probably the best two offensive players to play together we've ever seen. Like, legit. They don't run no offense. It's just, I'm going to go get mine, and you can't stop me. And then once Ben Simmons gets inserted into this system and this lineup, he's going to be a elevated version of Bruce Brown. That is the easiest thing he can probably do.
Damn, why you violate my man like that,
though? but what I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect. I'm actually trying to give a compliment.
I get it.
I'm actually trying to give a compliment to what
you were going to say, like Sean Marion.
Sean Marion. Well, Sean Marion shoots threes. But here's the thing, like, I just think Ben Simmons can now just focus on playing defense, being a facilitator, and he'll score his, 10 to 15 points a game, but he'll average probably 12 assists. And, he's going to average like 2 or 3 steals, I think, in my opinion, because now he could just float and just run the offense, and he can guard the best player while KD doesn't have to do that anymore. And it's going to be trouble for teams in the playoffs when they actually form together. But disappointing the way, the Sixers came out, considering the magnitude of the game. But I think it's more credit to the Nets and how, like, they kind of they're telling the rest of the league, like, hey, like, let's be serious right now. If it comes down to it, Kevin Durant, personally, I think the only team that can give them trouble would be the Bucks, because they have a player that you cannot guard. The other teams, I think, are going to have trouble with the Nets. Maybe the Heat. Maybe, I don't know. I still got to see how Vic gets inserted, but
the Heat is iffy sometimes, man. They iffy.
But yeah. I just think the Nets kind of proved something to me tonight, and it just sucked because I wanted to see, like, it came out very competitive. The juices were flowing, the atmosphere and the energy was there, but like as soon as you kind of saw Kyrie and KD was just like, yeah, we're taking this over. There's nothing you can do about it. It clearly made that statement. So.
Yeah, I think it meant a lot more to the Nets or KD and Kyrie. More than Nets. I would say all of them. It meant more to the Nets today than the 76ers. Like, I don't think they came out ready to play at all. I think they were just going to just do what they wanted to and just figure it's going to be a close game and turn it on later. I think Joel Embiid's first 3 shots were like spin fadeaways, half spin fadeaways. Like, he missed a dunk early. Like, bro, what are you doing? Go insert your dominance. It's Andre Drummond. Like, that was your backup. Like, that should have been a personal matchup right away.
Exactly.
He was shooting jump shots. So that was tough. And then, like I was saying a little earlier, Kyrie was guarding James Harden the whole first half.
The whole first half. He took it serious. There was like the camera pan to them as like there was a foul and something was happening. They was passing the ball off. They bumped into each other. Yeah,
Kyrie didn't even look at him. Like, they bumped into each other. Kyrie didn't look at him and had a straight face. I was like, okay, he's being
it's personal. There's a little personal thing going on there.
Yeah. And I've been reading the little quotes that they've been saying all week. They were saying like, hey, like, it's no love lost, but just we wish the communication could have been better. So I think they really are pissed about like how he just left. And they took it
Think about it. They gave up all that stuff because he wanted to be there. Think about it. They could have still had Jared Allen. They could have still had Karis LeVert. They could have still had all these players
All those
that
picks.
And those picks.
right, and those
And
picks.
those
Who
picks.
knows who could have they have gotten now, right? With those assets. Maybe Bradley Beal, maybe Damian. I'm just throwing just names out there just because, but like things could have looked a lot different for them if they would have held onto those assets, from last year to this year. But that now it's like, damn, like you forced your way here, and then like you don't like the situation all of a sudden. I'm hurt. Kyrie didn't take the vaccine, but we're trying to get that situated. Like, just wait. Like, I just think James Harden kind of just felt as if like he just wasn't the focal point of the offense as much as he wanted it to be when Kyrie and KD were there. I thought he fit in great because he changed his game up. He became a facilitator. One of the best to do it. In this game right now. So I kind of felt like, damn, that was like premature for him to kind of just up and leave and Philly was my first choice. Like, that's cap. No, it was not. Like, stop that. Philly was not your first choice. You wanted to go to Brooklyn and you wanted to play with KD and Kyrie because you felt like everyone else felt that was a guaranteed championship.
Well, I mean, looking at James Harden's track record, Philly might have been his first choice, but not because of anything basketball.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Lil Baby and Meek there. You saw Travis Scott at the game today. Maybe that was his first choice to go hang with his homies. You don't know.
Yeah, true. His priorities are. But needless to say, Kendrick Perkins, stop with the comparisons. James Harden is not Kobe Bryant. He is not Magic Johnson. He is none of those. So please, because when it's money time, he's never stepped up.
That's messing up people parlays, man.
Ooh.
Bro, I had him at 21.5 over. Couldn't even get me that. Come on, bro.
Wow.
He can't show when you need the parlays, man.
Yeah, but as we segue now, obviously we're gonna stick it. We're gonna stick it, to the NBA for a little bit. So Russell Westbrook, as you know, this week, it was a whole. Put your cap on straight. Yeah, okay. Yeah, put your cap. As you all know, he came out this week. With the actually no, let me backtrack. His wife Nina came out on Twitter and expressed her frustrations and issues with the barrage of name calling being thrown her way into the family, the West Brick terminology, death threats, which is never okay, that she's been receiving and the Westbrook family has been receiving, all because of obviously Westbrook's play. Right, that's kind of what it stems from. Jamal, let me get your thoughts on what Westbrook, said. Obviously what he said was, it's very frustrating, it's very upsetting. He can't even bring he doesn't even want to bring his family or his kids to the game because he doesn't want his kids to hear, the derogatory statements that he gets while he's playing on the court. And he kind of felt it. The situation hit him obviously because his wife, stated something about it. His mom told him something about it, and then now, it's just like nonstop. Skip Bayless, name calling and all that, stupid stuff. So, give me your thoughts on it, and then I'll share my perspectives along with Eric and Armani as well.
Yeah, so Russ is my guy, so I'm gonna try to stay as neutral as possible. But on a serious note, I think it's like a trickle down effect from what's just the madness of what's happening with the Lakers and in Los Angeles, right? I feel for him when it comes to just like the name calling and all the bullying and things that are happening in the arena and things that his mom and his kids and his wife got to endure. It's a little tough. Obviously, nobody ever wants to deal with something like that, but that kind of comes with the territory. You kind of got to know that's going to come when you sign up to play with certain franchises. The Lakers are just one of them, so you knew that was what was going to happen. Not saying that any of that stuff is okay. Like, I don't agree with him getting called out his name or death threats or I don't know, his parents or his wife or his kids getting yelled at while they're there. So that's not cool. Definitely not cool. And I understand that when it comes to that, basketball is not as important as the family stuff. So I get them when it comes to that point. But I think when you have a hand in it, and then you complain about it, it becomes an issue. Russ is my guy, obviously. has he lived up to the idea of what we wanted him to be, or everybody wanted him to be in LA? No. Is he playing horribly? I don't think so. No, but there's got to be a level playing field when it comes to those type of things. So yes, it is rough for him, but I mean, he's got to understand that's what's coming. That's what's coming down the road. The Lakers are getting ass whooped every night. He's not playing up to the level that we thought he was going to play to. The team is in total turmoil. Everybody's hurt. Too old, can't play defense. Rookies getting calling out fucking top 75 players of all time. LeBron, crying on defense. Yeah, it's like the team is in total disarray. So like, he got to know that that's coming, just because which is kind of weird when I think about it. When I think back, he's probably one of the most disrespected players in the NBA in a very long time. Like, I know LeBron is probably top notch, so like you can't compare the nonsense.
I'm sure LeBron gets it worse than anybody, but Russ is up there.
But Russ is like number 2 or 3. Like, I can't think of anybody else that gets the disrespect he gets. Obviously, this year might be on another level, but like, he's been getting it for forever. So it's tough.
When you said that, a bunch of memes just popped up into my head.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It's crazy.
Like, they made a whole blooper reel of him shooting off backboards.
So
like,
I'm thinking of the play. I'm thinking of the play that went viral when we was playing the Spurs the other night, and he lobbed the ball to the backboard and
looked at it.
And looked at it. I'm just like, I ain't gonna hold you. In that moment, I just felt sorry for the man, bro. I'm just like, man, this dude cannot catch a break, bro. Like,
it's tough, man. It's tough. And again, not saying he doesn't put some of that stuff on himself. Like, at some point, Rush, you got to stop shooting that left wing bank shot. Like, it doesn't hit. Like, you hit 1 out of 10. Stop shooting them. At some point, he just got to look at the situation and not, play into it. But again, it doesn't account for him being, family getting death threats. Like, that missed bank shot doesn't mean your family should get death threats. That's a little rough. Yeah. But again, like I say, the Lakers being in disarray doesn't help. The coaching staff and the media in LA and everywhere else around doing basketball stuff on the Lakers doesn't help. So it's kind of been a trickle down effect that's like got him at the bottom, and he's almost drowning in it, to the point where we've had this conversation before. It's definitely time to part ways. Definitely. Yeah. However, if they're going to sit LeBron and sit a bunch of guys, like let Russell Westbrook go home too and just figure it out. Like, this season has been a tough season. I was about to say I could only imagine, but I'm a Knicks fan, so I've been dealing with this for forever.
Well, I mean, your whole life. Anywho, Amani, they don't know what championships are. Anyway, I have to throw that in there. Sorry, Knicks fans. So here's my overall sentiment with the whole Russ issue, right? Like, and I said this on, in spaces on Twitter and Lakers spaces, and a lot of Russ stands out there. The death threats, and if it's outside the basketball lines, it's out of bounds, basically, right? If that makes sense, right? Yep. Like, no one, you shouldn't, like, you're a serious sicko if you're going to send death threats because you don't like the way a player is playing. Like, you're like that. Their family has nothing to do with that. For you to go to that extent is ridiculous, and obviously the authorities should be involved in that process. Like the scum of the earth type of acts, basically, right? And I want to get that out the way. But I'm gonna harp on the Westbrook terminology. I understand how it's affecting the family.
That's been
right?
something for a while, though.
And that's where I was going, because and he said that. So
it's been Westbrook, LeBrick, all of that. Yeah. That's been something for a while.
They call Anthony Davis Anthony Davis. Like, street clothes. Remember that? Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's a play on words. It's a play on words.
It's a play on words, and that. All of us play basketball in some type of capacity, and whether it's organized or whatever, but you get heckled by fans. That happens. The Westbrook thing, I think, is completely within bounds during the game, like from opposing fans, because the reason why they're calling you Westbrook is because you can't shoot. Like, that's just the logical thing. Like, no one's calling Steph Curry like Steph can't shoot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just overall, like, two things can be right. Westbrook can feel a way. He has a right to feel a way about how his name is being used, right? And especially on social media and national media, and especially when it hits home. Like, he has a right to comment and say, like, hey, like, I'm not going to stand for it because now my wife is feeling a way about it. My mother is feeling a way about it. I don't want my kids to be involved. My family members are getting heckled as well. They have nothing to do with that. But at the same time, you got to understand too, like, that's part of the game. But we cannot sit here and dictate or justify how this man should feel about these things being thrown his way. He has a right to feel a certain way about it, and that's just that. Like, I use this analogy in the Twitter spaces before. As a man, right? We cannot get pregnant and give birth, but I can't sit here and tell a woman, oh, that doesn't look painful. Like, you're soft. Like, that other woman went through it and she was a G, she was a G about it. Like, she was okay. Like, I would never go through that experience, right? So who am I to say, or who am I to tell another person that's going through a certain situation that I'm never going to go through? This is how you should be feeling, right? Like, I just hate the sentiment that, like, people say, like, well, Westbrook, how are you being upset? But, like, they call him LeBron James, everything under the sun, and they're talking about Steph Curry and all this stuff, and every star gets this vitriol of heckling and all this stuff, and I get it, but at the same time, like, a player has the right to feel how he feels regardless, and as long as Westbrook understands that in between the lines, like, stuff like this is gonna happen, cool. You know what I'm saying? And fans should just, try to. You don't have to necessarily, like, capitulate to what he's asking. I would just say be respectful and understand it. If you want to heckle, whatever, that's your prerogative. But at the end of the day, this is the game of basketball, and it comes with the territory. We all know the Lakers stink, right, from top to bottom. Like, from the ownership, Jeannie Buss. I don't know what she's doing. She's getting advice from Tom, Dick, and Harry and
Trying to get
Phil
Phil Jackson
Jackson.
back.
Yeah, like Phil Jackson. Like, what are we doing,
Kurt
man? Like,
Rambis.
the Rambis are like,
the man
are
hasn't
the,
coached in 10
Stars.
years.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he hasn't coached
So,
in 10
like,
years.
right, and then on top of that, right, you got a coaching staff who is not good. David Fizdale.
Oof.
I don't know what
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, I went on my rant about Fizdale before. He needs to go. He is trash. He is a trash coach.
Listen,
he does
y'all.
not know how to coach.
We warned y'all, man.
To have David Fizdale as the offensive coordinator of this team is a travesty. Then on top of that, you build the team, Rob Pelinka and LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You build a team around a coach that's a defensive minded, but no, you just say, you know what, LeBron doesn't want to have the ball in his hands, but yet still he plays the 1 and the 5 every game. I don't understand. You have all these old players. Well, I hate to say old players. You have these veteran players who don't give a lick about the regular season. They're not there for that. They're like, we're just here for the playoffs because that's what we're here for, and that's what garners our interest. And this is why we're in the position that we're in today. So it's not all on Russ. Russ takes some culpability of this, but because of his play. But at the same time, he's hardly put in situations that optimizes his talent because of the lineup situation that goes on. Like, why does Frank Vogel continuously have DJ Augustine, Avery Bradley, and Russell Westbrook in at the same time? What are we doing? And having Melo at the 5 and Stanley Johnson at the 4. If you think that's going to win you any games, or at least have put Russ in the best position, that's not going to work. You have 3 guards. One of them, in fact, who can't shoot, is playing small forward. What are we doing? So people need to look at the game itself and look at what's being put on the floor. It's not all Russ's fault, but at the same time, he does own some of that culpability because his play has been horrid off and on throughout the season. I mean, he's averaging 18, 8 and 8. Like, that's not bad as a third option. Like, you really look at it, it's not bad as a third option. It's really not. That's what you expect your third option to kind of average. He's probably averaging above the expectation.
What? That ain't no third average, nothing. That's a number 1 guy number.
But considering the fact that you got LeBron and AD, that is a good third option. That's putting up those numbers.
Right.
AD hasn't been healthy all year. LeBron I don't know what's going on with him. There's some games look engaged, there's some games look like he don't care. Like I just wish he just figured that out. If he's hurt, then sit down. Like if you're hurt, if your leg hurt, bro, sit down and stop chasing Kareem. Just sit down. You'll get the scoring title next year.
Right.
Like I don't understand it. So at the end of the day, the whole ship is terrible, and everyone owns some type of culpability of why the Lakers season is the way it is. We will probably get in the play-in because Portland keeps losing and the Pelicans keep losing. We're trying to lose and not making it in the play-in, but basketball guys are like, no, you're going to take this smoke and then you're going to lose in the play-in, and then we're going to be the laughing stock of the league. And, it's going to be all the social media, national media, like overreaction about how this is the worst trade in Laker history and all this crap, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, Magic.
Yeah, Magic was wilding with that.
Laker Nation is just a lot, man. They just do a lot.
Lakers spaces. Oh my god,
spoiled.
We're so hilarious.
We're a bit spoiled.
Lakers,
but at the same time,
sorry.
yeah, Lakers spaces would be crazy. But at the same time, I could be an objective Laker fan, and everything is just bad. And Russ will probably be traded this offseason, or he'll opt out, which I don't think he will. But and he'll find another home. But I don't foresee this relationship, prolonging after this year. It was a bad fit, and I said it from the beginning. Excuse me, when the trade went down, I don't know why LeBron James wants Russell Westbrook. They're the same player. Just Russ is just smaller. Like they're the same exact player. The fact that LeBron wants to say I want to play off the ball more, but then like he's constantly playing the one. I just and then you expect Russ to sit in the corner. That's not his game. So. It's just bad all around. And Anthony Davis, he walk on the court and I just cringe. I'll be like, man, please, not today. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, I think if AD is healthy and LeBron is healthy and Russ is, yes, they have a shot because you can't count those three out. Those are three great talents. But at the same time, the rest of think about this, guys. The Lakers are relying on an undrafted rookie. Right, and Austin Reeves. When Austin Reeves is good, stop it, Jamal. We had this conversation. Austin Reeves is good. Austin Reeves is good. Yes, he is.
He wouldn't play. He wouldn't play anywhere else.
Oh my God. Anywho, and then they're also starting a player that they got off a 10-day. So it's just, if you think that's a recipe for a championship, it is not. LeBron playing the 5 is not a championship. It's not a recipe for a championship. I think. Get through the season and worry about the off season. All right. Yeah, that's just more. The team is just bad, man. It's all around bad, and it's not Russell's fault. And we need to understand that, like, yes, the heckling is going to happen, but fans also need to understand it's not all on Russell Westbrook. This whole experiment is just not on him. Yes, him saying I don't have any expectations, like, all right, Russ, you don't say that because like you don't come to the Lakers and play with LeBron and AD and say, who just won a championship, and say, well, I don't got no expectations when I came here. Yes, the hell you do. We brought you here to win a chip. Like that's the only reason why. Because that's the case, you could have stayed in Washington and stat padded. But at the end of the day, it doesn't work. It's not going to work. We're probably going to trade Russ in the offseason. And what do you mean how? See, all right, here's where I get upset, right? When people say like, there's no way the Lakers are trading Russell Westbrook because no team's gonna want him. Do you know how many teams in the league who are not in the business of trying to win, who are just in the business of like, hey, we're at a situation right now where we need to, relieve some cap space. Oh, let me call the Lakers. They have a $47 million expiring contract that we could get off our books and we could get off all these long-term deals because the Lakers are going to have to take some long-term deals in order to get off of Russ. It is what it is. So at the end of the day, Russ will be traded. And from my knowledge, what I'm heard, because I always got my ears connected, there are some suitors, and we'll see when the summertime comes what happens. But I'll leave it at that.
All I'm gonna just say is it just stems from frustration. This entire experiment, this entire season has just been a mess. As Lakers fans, we just want to keep hope alive, especially in the beginning of the season.
Dude, we're worse than the Clippers, who don't have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
Man,
y'all guys, and they swept the Lakers in the season series.
We beat the Warriors. We beat the Warriors. We beat the Warriors. I remember last time on the podcast, I asked for 3 things. I asked to beat the Suns, I asked to beat the Clippers, and I asked to beat the Warriors. We got one of those things. So I'm holding that with me. You know,
And
in a season full of disaster.
And we're going to get smoked on Sunday by the Suns. Just putting that out there.
Well, we said it last time, and we beat the Warriors. But anyway, it's just like all stemming from frustration. And death threats is never justifiable. You do see sometimes on the court that Russ does entertain it. I'm pretty sure that we all seen that clip that he was exchanging words with one of the Spurs fans and stuff like that. I remember when he was a part of the Oklahoma City Thunder, he had a few words with a Sixers fan as well too. So like, I'm not
remember
saying
last year
also,
in Washington, I believe in Philadelphia, they threw popcorn on them. Yeah, in the playoff game. You know what I'm saying?
So like, I'm not saying that when you're
and also had problems with Jazz fans.
With the racial slurs.
Right, exactly. So I'm not saying that when you go to a live event that you can say whatever you want and there's no repercussions, that the players don't hear you. There's no invincible wall stopping the court from the seats. You know what I mean? But sometimes he tends to get in his own head, especially when he's playing. Like, he's thinking too much. He just needs to play free. And we've seen a couple of games like that when he's playing free, and you know, he actually had a great performance. And some of those games we won, and some of those games we didn't. You know,
how many games we won of those?
One that comes to memory, that game against the Spurs early in the season, where he had to take over. There was another game against the Pistons early in the season when that whole Isaiah Stewart and LeBron thing happened. He took over the game, won that game, you know. But then the last game against the go ahead.
The reason why I say this, right? Because the reason why I say this is I'm not actually making fun of Russ. It's because if you look at those moments, LeBron James wasn't on the floor.
Yeah.
And this is why I said the fit doesn't work. Because Russ clearly is a better player when it's just him and AD playing together versus when it's LeBron and Russ playing together. Right.
And that also goes to rotations. That goes to rotations as well too. Like, you know, I believe,
man.
Right, exactly what you're saying. Russ and AD got to be out there together while Braun is resting. You know, he had to find a way to stagger the minutes, and that was just something that was just so obvious that we could not figure out, and we still haven't figured it out for this entire season. So.
Dude, we started our 32nd starting lineup last night. This is the most in the league. How do you think you're going to get any type of continuity, any type of rhythm with the players that you're playing with if the starting lineup constantly changes? We're 60 games in the season, and they put out the 32nd starting lineup this year. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? There's no constant.
Are we going to, again, I know Russ is the scapegoat for the Laker fans, but are
he's not.
No, he's not.
He's not. He's not.
Are we going to start giving, you know, a nice percentage of the blame to LeBron?
Oh, yes. LeBron James is the reason why this team is put together.
Well, I'm not even talking about him being the real GM. I'm not even talking about that part. I'm talking about him being the player. Again, we get LeBron is arguably the best player of all time. Things he does on the court is unprecedented.
Guys, here's where the Kawhi voice comes in right now. So here we go.
Yeah, no. Are we going to start looking at LeBron as a culprit in a lot of the reasons and things that go wrong? Not even just talking about last night. Last night they had an opportunity to win. He wasn't aggressive enough. We get that. I'm not even going to talk about that because that's something he's been doing his whole career. But just a lot of these winnable games, at the end of these games, where is LeBron making those extra efforts? And I'm not even talking about just scoring.
Defensively, he has a lot of laps defensively that he doesn't want to
orchestrate the offense, and not just him basketball. Dribbling and stepping back and shooting jump shots.
Yeah, taking ill-advised threes. Oh man,
a lot of the Laker games have been close games that they've lost. It's not like they're getting blown out every night. Like yesterday's game was a winnable game. You brought up some other ones, some Detroit games, some San Antonio Spurs. Oh, he didn't play the Spurs game, but like
the Kings triple overtime game.
There's a lot of games.
That game for me, right? But that game for me in particular calls out what you're mentioning because
oh my
the first actually all the overtimes from regulation through all the overtimes, it was LeBron ISO top of the three or foul line extended isolation jump shot. What? Like it just seems as if like what frustrates me the most about LeBron sometimes is the lack thereof of effort and interest, because that starts to leak out to the rest of the guys on the floor.
Yep.
How many times have we seen LeBron doesn't get a call at the rim and he'll
walk
sit
back.
Yeah, he'll walk back and they're playing 4-on-5 on defense or something like that. So yes, it happens a lot. But I would also argue that LeBron covers so much of the rest of the issues that we have. It's unfortunate. Like it's like a catch-22. You know what I'm saying? Like, because yes, he's the one that said I wanted Russ. I didn't want when they tried to get DeMar DeRozan, he didn't push for it. He didn't push for the Buddy Hield stuff. And I think evidently, those acquisitions would have helped you better kind of, improve the team, because you still would have had probably either, if not Kuzma, or you had at least KCP or Caruso on the team, and those would have been assets you could have flipped for something even better. So at the end of the day, I think the blame goes in this like tier, right? Jeannie Buss, because you're the owner. Like you approved all this. You approved all this.
You can't
Yes.
give her all that flack.
Nah. She's number one, bro. She's number one. She's number one. Number two was LeBron. No, actually, no. Wait. I'm gonna flip that. Number one is Jeannie. Number two is the Ramby, right? Kurt Rambis and Linda Rambis. They're the ones who make all the decisions around the which makes no sense to me. Then you go LeBron James. And Rob Pelinka, yep. And then you go AD and Russ, and then everybody else. But in between like LeBron, Pelinka, and AD, you could throw the coaching staff in there, because I don't know what the hell they be doing.
No, I actually don't think their coaching staff is that bad.
No, it's terrible.
They don't have talent.
That's bad.
Yeah, bad talent.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to coach that. If you're a good coach, you can't coach bad talent. Like Chauncey Billups, I think is a good basketball mind, but like the Blazers getting smoked by 40 every night. Like
it just takes time. It just takes time,
Yeah, they got
which Lakers don't have, right?
What time, bro?
Don't have no time for that. Not for the Lakers. I'm talking
we done. There's no time, son. Like it's over. Pack it up. They're going home. It is what it is, man. Like the Lakers stink. They stink, man. It stressed me out. Jesus.
First of all, I wasn't talking about the Lakers. I was talking about the Trailblazers, because you mentioned.
Oh, all right, my bad. I'm sorry. I jumped off the bridge too early.
I feel you. Yes. It's been very frustrating, man. Very frustrating. It's gotten to the point where I don't even post a record on Instagram no more. It's like, it is what it is, man.
Armani, let me tell y'all now. Like, I watch Laker games now with no expectation, like Russ.
Yeah, none.
I just watch the game.
I'm numb to the
pain. You know what? I'm just like, if they lose, like literally last night, bro. Last night, all I could do was just laugh. Yeah. I couldn't even get upset. Because it was like, I kind of expected this. Like, it's weird. Like, it's just bad, man. Like, there's no explanation for it. They deserve what they deserve. Unfortunately,
we went to overtime. Next, 2 minutes later, I checked my phone, and it was about like 9.
Nothing.
And I'm
you had to watch it live, because it was just like barrage of 3 after 3. Like Jalen Green is literally isoing Melo, and I'm like,
what? You heard what he said, right?
The game plan was to attack Melo, because Melo can't guard a prop car. We know that, and it's just like, yo, like, what do we do? Like, what? Like, I'm like, Frank, you don't see this? Like, you just gonna sit there and let Melo just take the abuse, and then LeBron, he's just like sitting in the paint, And what got me upset, he got a block on Jalen Green, and he's all like, celebrating the block and all this stuff, and I'm just like, bro, like, we losing, man. Like, we losing. We're in a
37, man.
We're in a dogfight with the worst team in the Western Conference. Rockets. What are we doing, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, if you don't want it, just say you don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Just say you don't want it. Let the fans know, like, hey, you know what, guys? Like, I'm sorry.
He wants it. He's playing for a a different trophy though. He's going after that Kareem number.
And
He's
that's
gonna
what
get it
pisses me off.
eventually.
He's gonna get it
eventually.
regardless, though.
I mean,
regardless,
he don't
he's
know. You
gonna
got to
get
put
it.
the numbers up. You got to go get it. That's what he's worried about. He ain't worried about nothing else. That's why he ain't sitting, because he want them numbers.
Well, if he
Because
wants
he
them
ain't doing
numbers,
nothing else.
And
my
and he's trying
parlay
to
need
get
to continue to hit.
and he's trying to get that he's trying to get that scoring lead.
He's not gonna get it
League.
though. He's not getting it though. He's not gonna get it. Embiid or Giannis is gonna run away with that. He's not getting that.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah, enough about the Lakers, man.
Oof.
I'm depressed. Take it over to the next segment. I'm depressed. I'm gonna put myself on mute. This is
gosh. All right, so since we're in March is Women's History Month. So
shout out to the women, man, for sure.
That's right. Yes. We're going to give our top 5 women's basketball players of all time.
Yeah, this one gonna get spicy.
This is gonna get interesting. So I'm gonna give my 5, and then the rest of y'all in the panel give y'all 5s, and then we're just gonna go from there and give y'all opinions.
I just want to say real quick, I feel like it's kind of crazy what's going on with Brittany Griner in Russia. That's happening at a horrible time. You know, not saying this shit happened at all, but like the timing is just really horrible right now.
She's facing what, 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Crazy. I read the article yesterday, and I'm just like, man, that is so crazy. So
we gotta
unfortunate.
get out of there, man. Like for real. Like I get it. Like she broke a law and stuff, and it just makes it worse because what's happening right now in Russia. And yeah, it's just, I don't like to get into politics too much, but like, yeah, this is bad. This is bad, and it's not good, and we need her to get out of there. And the thoughts and prayers are with her, so that way, hopefully we find a way to get her back home. But I want to say this as before, Eric, you give your top 5. The WNBA, the owners, even the NBA, the women's National Players Association, y'all have to do better, because I'm gonna tell y'all why Brittany Griner was in Russia. Brittany Griner was in Russia because most of the women in the offseason go overseas to play basketball because they get paid. They get paid more than they do in the WNBA. Why? What are we doing here? So, like, I need the WNBA to do better. I need the National Basketball Players Association to do better. The Women's National Basketball Players Association to do better to get better deals for these women. I think the WNBA was threatening to, or still is threatening to dismiss the whole franchise of the New York Liberty because they were chartering planes for their players. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, they're about to disband them. Like, makes no sense.
Liz Cambridge was on NBA Today, I believe, 2 weeks ago, and she said like she had to come out her own pocket to pay for first class because she was too tall to sit in economy. Yo, the woman is what, 6'8", 6'9", something like that, right? She can't sit in economy, and why? Because I can guarantee you, the owner got a private jet. Why does the team have a private plane? Why can't they provide that proper transportation for their players? Like, this is insane. Like, we got to do better for the women because they put out a great product of basketball on the floor every single night that they're out there. And some of them are better than the men that's in the league right now. So, like, we need to stop this and, like, really understand what's going on here. There should be no reason why these women have to go overseas to make more money than they do it at their own homes. That is ridiculous. And that is one of the reasons why Brittany Griner is in Russia and detained. Yes, I understand she broke a law. Like, I'm not refuting that what she did was right, but at the same time, we have to be real about the whole situation because there's context behind all this stuff.
Agree.
100%.
I agree 100%. So we segue to.
Are we ranking this, or we just throwing out 5?
It's done out of top 5.
Okay.
So my 5 will be. I got Cheryl Miller, Lisa Leslie, Becky Hammond, Cynthia Cooper, and number 5, Cheryl Swoops.
It's a good 5. Becky, I want to know your reasoning behind Becky Hammond.
It's like she just made the cut line to being on my list.
Okay.
I could have had Shamika Holslaw on that list. Swing Cash.
I mean,
Um,
listen,
I know,
listen,
I know.
I get it, but there is. I'm just saying, there's a lot. In my opinion, there's a lot more that are better than Becky Hammond. But
Yeah, no,
I know.
I respect
Teach
the
his
Becky
own.
Hammond.
Teach his
yeah,
own.
yeah, teach his own. To each his own.
Teach his
Like
own.
it's a debate. It's a
Also
healthy debate.
Played with
he
the
had
Liberty, so I respect it.
Teresa
Yeah.
Witherspoon.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
Big
I
mama.
mean, someone else. Listen, I'm gonna get to my list, but yeah, go ahead, Jamal. It's on you.
Well,
Go ahead
mine.
with your list.
So you actually named a bunch of them. For me, going through the list and like really thinking about it, like I actually had to I wrote down like 10
I
or
had
15.
trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down 10 or 15, and I'm like, yo, I feel like I'm missing some. So like I had to go back and like really look.
Because it really been shifting over the past couple of years too.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
It's like it's weird, especially with the exposure that women's basketball gets now, or that it's been getting within the last 10 or 5-10 years. That there's so many other really good players. So it was super tough for me. So I'm not even gonna lie. But there was a bunch that didn't make it. But these are mine. So you actually named one. Cheryl Miller was one of them. I remember my pops always talking about Cheryl Miller. Growing up, it was weird. Like he's talking about like
she
the
was
things
killing
she used to do.
dudes throughout Southern California. Like
it's like
oof.
The stories that I remember my pops telling me and my pops is from New York City. So like if he's getting the stories from New York City and she's all the way in California, like it had to
Social media was a thing.
Yeah, so if it traveled that far, it had to be a thing. So Cheryl Miller is there for me. Cynthia Cooper is another one that's like, again, I was younger when she was playing. I think the WNBA started in like 97 or 96, something like that. And
97,
yeah. And then the Comets came and won like 3 or 4 straight with her on the team being the best player.
That Comet team was a juggernaut.
Yeah, so like, and she was older too.
Bring
I
them
think
back.
when it started, she was like in her 30s. So Cynthia Cooper's on there for me. One that you didn't say, Tamika Catchings is my girl.
I had her.
Tamika Catchings, bro.
I had her.
Tamika Catchings. Oh, dude. Like,
I had her. Yep.
Bruh. She
was 5-time DPOY.
Bruh.
Yeah, bro.
One of them for me.
5, bro.
5. Yeah. 5. It don't make no sense with Tamika Catchings. The other one for me, even though she shortened her career, which obviously was for a good reason. Maya Moore is the other one.
Yep.
Maya Moore is like I don't know, like she's of all I'm very protective of like the NBA. Like I think people that make it to the NBA are really, really good basketball players. They might not be like good in the NBA for whatever reason, but they're really good basketball players. So I don't like try to downplay anybody that's in the league, but for me, Maya Moore
could be on the league.
She might. I think she could get on a team like
easily, and not even just get on the team. She's getting rotation minutes, bro. Like that's how nice she was to me.
She's one of them. Like she's like one of the few girls that I feel like she could actually make it and like get some time, get some buckets, put some people in a blender. Like Maya Moore is one of them. And then the other one you said, Cheryl Swoops. I think it's hard for me to take Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia Cooper away from each other because like they kind of had a lot of
they were the best duo.
Yeah, they had a lot of winning and just accomplishments together, even though like they kind of had their own routes to get to each other in the WNBA when it started. But like those two for me were like it's hard for me to take away. And like I said, there was a bunch of players for me that I tried to so hard not to take out, like Diana Taurasi, Lisa Leslie, freaking Candace Parker. Even Breonna Stewart right now, she's wilding. And I think she should be in that conversation. But it was tough for me to like really make this list because it's super, super, super tough. Super tough. But those 5 for me are it.
Okay. You want to go, Armand? Or you want me to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
So I had 2 of what you had on your list, Jamal, and Tamika Catchings and Maya Moore. The 5 DPOYs for Tamika Catchings was just a no-brainer. And Maya Moore, she accomplished
no one's ever done that.
Defensive player of the year
5
times.
5, bro.
Come on, man.
Maya Moore, she's accomplished a lot in a short period of time. I remember that the Lynx, the Minnesota Lynx, was just a powerhouse, man. Especially like in the early 2010s, they were like that team to beat. Next, I had Lisa Leslie. I had Lauren Jackson. as well.
Ooh.
Multi-time WNBA Finals MVP champion as well too. Feel like her name kind of goes under the radar as well, especially because, like we said when we began this segment, it was hard, man. It was hard to
But
pick.
she was a 3-time MVP as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Like,
yeah.
and I'm 03, 07, and 2010, if I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2010.
And then also round out the list, Diana Taurasi. That's my 5 right there. It was very hard. It was very hard.
So, for me, this one, I done like scribbled out and redid list, and because I legit forgot about some women, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, nah, she can't be left out. So I got Maya Moore. To me, she's the best WNBA player I've ever seen, because I saw her live, and I never forget the show she put on against Liberty. So for me, Maya Moore she reminded me, like, her, to me, and rest in peace Kobe, but she was the female Kobe in my eyes to me. Like, her game was just so smooth in that manner, and how she carried herself on the court, and she was just a killer. Like, so I got Maya Moore there. Obviously, Cheryl Miller, right? Like, she is the OG, the pioneer, the Kareem of what may have you, so to speak.
The stories behind Cheryl Miller,
Yeah,
so
it's
crazy,
like
bro.
it's so great how she just dominated, like, literally unstoppable, literally.
It's crazy that she didn't really get the opportunity to play in the WNBA.
That-
But like,
right.
bro,
Oh my god! If she had the opportunity to, what?
I was reading that she won. She was a first team All-American for 8 years straight. So 4 years in high school. So as a freshman all the way through, and then 4 years in college as a freshman all the way through. How?
It's
bro?
crazy.
How does that work?
Like, you're 14 years old, you're the best in the like. Come on, think about that.
And Reggie Miller was living right in the same household.
The stories that I've heard of, like, Reggie Miller just talking and saying, like, oh, coming to the dinner table saying, hey, I scored 40 today, like,
right,
hey, what's up?
I did 90.
Like, what?
That's insane, bro. It's really insane.
It's mind blowing.
It's like almost mythical, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. So yeah, Maya Moore, Cheryl Miller, Lisa Leslie, Lakers Sparks thing. It's she's come on, like,
that's true. It goes hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand. Like, I've watched Lisa Leslie, like, dominate. You know what I'm saying, for years on end. Two-time champion, 3-time MVP.
First woman to dunk the basketball in the game.
First woman to dunk a basketball in the game. That was revolutionary. 2-time Finals MVP. Like, you know what I'm saying? Defensive Player of the Year. Come on, rebounding champion, block champion. The list goes on. You know what I'm saying? So I got Lisa Leslie at 3. Woo! Okay. I got, obviously, as we talked about, Tamika Catchings.
A dog.
I mean,
5.
Dog, bro.
Yeah, like, dog. I mean, come on, man. Obviously, then I have Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia Cooper, like neck and neck as number 5, because
A and B.
Yeah, like, because honestly, I had a tough time, because I wanted to put Diana Taurasi in there. One of the best guards ever to ever play the game, but also Candace Parker, and we forget, no one mentioned her, Tina
Rebecca
Charles,
Lobo.
bro. Tina Charles on the comments was like the beast. You know what I'm saying? Like, people forget about how good Tina Charles was. So, I said Tina Charles. Excuse me, Tina Thompson.
Tina Thompson.
Forgive me. Tina Thompson. Listen, career stats, average 15 points a game. Four WNBA championships, 97, 98, 99, and 2000. 4 straight. You know what I'm saying? She's 5th in 3-pointers made all time. 3-time All NBA first team. I'm just like, Tina Thompson. Without Tina Thompson, the Comets don't go on that run that they went on. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was an intricate part of that team. So it's just, it's so tough, because you got Rebecca Lobo as well. Brianna Stewart. The list goes on.
Angel McCarthy.
Man, listen.
That's my girl. I love her to death.
We didn't even talk about like
Angel
Sue
McCarthy,
Bird.
yep.
You know what I'm saying? Who's retiring after this year? Like it's just,
Yeah.
jeez. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much talent, and I think it was so underappreciated. Over the years that the talent that these women have put on for us, and just the history that they made. Man, it's just it's I'd like to go back and see and just to relish in those moments, and then looking forward to what's going to happen in the future, because obviously now women's basketball is on the forefront. Yeah, man, like it was a tough list to kind of like formulate, because I legit was like, I get my first four were like, oh, Sue Bird, this, that, and the third. Then I'm going back, I'm looking at history, I'm like, what am I talking about? And and you see all these women who put up, had these illustrious and great careers, man. And it's lovely to see, and I want to see more. I can't wait till the season starts. It's gonna be a lot of stuff happening, and for
Don't
sure,
forget
man.
about the women's tournament.
Shout out to Kentucky, man. Women's basketball team, Kentucky.
They beat South Carolina.
Yeah, and speaking of, how do we forget
Dawn
Staley? Like one of the greatest point guards to ever live the game, to ever play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy how much talent, and she's with the Charlotte Sting. And again, we got to bring more women's basketball teams back into the fold. I hope the league
Charlotte
expands.
Sting, Cleveland Rockers.
Right, you know what I'm saying? The Comets.
The Mighty Soul.
Detroit Shot.
Right, Detroit Shot. Like,
those jerseys was crazy.
Yeah, those jerseys was fire. Like, so we know. I just hope, like, they're looking to expand again and really just bring more of the women, because I just think it's becoming more and more universal now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's shout out to the women. I just want to give flowers and my kudos to them, and for them putting on a great game, because the game isn't what the game is today without them and their contribution to it. Like, at the end of the day, the men, have illustrious careers and they've done incredible things, but what the women have done has been, undermined, so to speak, under diminished, and they don't get enough coverage. And I'd like to see more coverage on them. But yeah, man, it was very tough for me to kind of, formulate a top five. It's so tough. Like, I would have so much easier time doing a top 10.
Yeah, no, probably harder. It's crazy,
right?
You definitely said it right, but I think it's it's in a good space. It's in a good spot.
Absolutely,
women's basketball, especially the WNBA. I know Nike got a partnership with them and put some money backing them, so I'm sure that'll include a lot of marketing that'll put their faces out there. And then the players that are there right now are like I said, there's players right now that I've been playing for 4 or 5 years that are garnished as one of the best ever. It's insane.
Exactly.
Like, Asia Wilson and who else? Brianna Stewart and I don't know. Deladon still playing. Yeah, Deladon. All these girls and ladies are still playing really, really well, and a lot of those younger females are really killing it. So I think it's very bright for their future. And then, like you said, the NCAA tournament is always where the next stars pop out. So I'm sure we'll see the next couple. So they're in a good spot, man. I'm happy about it. I just realized Armani got a WNBA hoodie on. I didn't even realize that. Definitely.
Represent for sure, man. And as we conclude this, we want to talk about quickly. Obviously, NBA playoffs are right around the corner. Give me your Eastern Conference Finals matchup and Western Conference Finals matchup, Jamal. Your finals matchup and your champion, as you see it right now.
So, like, as the seeds are today, or like just in general?
In general, your personal prediction of how you think things are going to roll out. Give me your Eastern Conference, Western Conference Finals matchup, and then obviously your finals.
Man, I don't want to answer this question, man.
You got to face it,
man. It's tough.
I don't want to answer.
I think it's tough because the playing tournament I actually really like. I hope they keep the playing tournament around. I'm sure, like,
they're gonna keep it. They're gonna keep it in.
They'll talk about taking it away. But
hey, we're still in the play. Hey, we're still in it. We're still in it. All right.
Yeah, I hope they keep it around because it gives it a different dynamic to what could happen.
We're only
right?
3.5 games back of the Hornets and the Hawks. So
come on, man.
Cam Reddish done for the season.
What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?
Cam Reddish done for the season.
The Knicks are gonna get in. But anyways,
that's Tibbs, not me. That's Tibbs.
But I think it'll be weird for some of the playing games because, like I was saying, if the Lakers get in a playing game and end up with an 8-1 seed,
don't give me hope.
not saying that they're gonna beat the Suns. I don't think so. But like, who's to say that the Russ and AD and LeBron click at the right time, figure it out, win a couple close games and then win 2 games and beat them in the first round. So
that Lakers space is gonna be crazy.
That is but I'm telling you right now, as positive as I want to be, and I'm hoping actually for that deep down inside that I have a better chance of walking on water and flying than that happening.
Well, I'm just saying it as in like it gives it another little like twist to what's happening. So
yeah, for sure.
I like the play-in, and I could see that making things a little difficult. Especially
I would say really quick, if the Lakers somehow, I have a theory here. If the Lakers somehow get the Warriors in the first round, I think they got their number. I personally feel like the Warriors are strategically, let's not worry about
they have the firepower.
Let's not worry about the playing teams that's down there, because I think I'm not saying that they're purposely tanking, but there is some strategic things happening, I think, over there that they don't kind of want to worry about seeing the Lakers in the first round. But that's just me.
Yeah, but again, that's what makes it fun. So I hope they do keep it around. But to put it to the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, if everything goes appropriately, I think that we're going to get surprised and see the Grizzlies in there. I think the Grizzlies are again. They're making it.
Okay, no. I mean, that's a great take.
Yeah, I think they're coached right. They have the appropriate roster where like it's not so much leaning on say Ja Morant or somebody. Like they have a good team that is still not fully together because Dylan Brooks is not.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks, and he averaged what 20 points a game. So that's a good chunk of
close to 20 last year.
Scoring.
So I think
their best perimeter defender.
They have a lot of good pieces, a few good bigs in the backcourt or in the front court.
And here's
the backcourt.
Here's the thing with Memphis. If because the Lakers don't have a pick this year, if that pick falls out of the top the top 3 or top 5. No, sorry, yeah. So from 5 to 10, if the pick lands from 5 to 10 or something like that, it goes to Memphis.
Bro, stop talking about it.
Because of the trade that they did with the whole Valanciunas thing and all that stuff back and forth with Steven Adams and all that.
See, they say if the pick goes from 1 to 10, it goes to the Grizzlies. If it goes to 11 to 30, it goes to the Pelicans.
No, because it's protected. It's protected. So
okay.
So the thing is, if the pick falls between like 1 and 5, the Pelicans get that pick. But it falls between 5 and 11 or 5 and 10. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, fans out there. I may be wrong, but I think this is what it is. Then the Grizzlies get that pick, and now you're talking about you're getting a lottery pick because the Lakers are bad, and you can couple that with the pieces that they have to get even better next season. And you garner that with the experience that they're going to get in the playoffs. They're going to be a dangerous team, going forward.
So that's why.
Watch them get Jaden Ivey and team up with Ja Morant. Oof.
Sheesh. only worse for the West. Only worse for the West and the Lakers even more.
Man.
I think they'll sneak in. Again, I'm huge on basketball history and making sure that the basketball guys do the things the right way. So I don't think they'll go the full way. I think they'll work their way into the Western Conference, use that as a learning experience, and just get better from there. And I think the other side, I guess, it then depends on whatever the numbers are. I feel like the Suns will get to the Western Conference Finals with them, but if they run into, this is like the sleeper team, whichever top 2-3 seed runs into the Dallas Mavericks,
I was just about to say,
I think that they beat them.
Yeah,
I think the Dallas Mavericks upset whoever 1, 2, 3, whoever they run into in the
in the playoff series. I don't think no one. Luka is on a different level this year, and their defense is legit. Jason Kidd is crazy. Who is supposed to be our coach. Jason Kidd is doing an awesome job right now.
So I think see those two.
And I think that traded for that Porzingis trade.
For sure. Because Porzingis was the cancer, but no one believed the Knicks when they said it, but it's the Knicks, so that's why it's just insane.
Yeah, we already know that, and also
like the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah, bro, we're not gonna talk about Porzingis. I hope he whatever stay in DC. And then on the other side, I'm huge on the Bucks. I still don't think any team in the league can beat the Bucks 4 times. Yeah. I know that we talk about the Nets. I know we talk about the Sixers, whoever, the Suns. I know we talk about all these teams, but I am until I'm proven different, I guess I'm gonna believe that the Bucks could beat anybody 4 times
Yeah.
and won't lose 4 times. They just have too much firepower, too much chemistry. They got things tied up in a bow. They keep getting better and adding pieces. They added
They have so much
Ibaka.
depth, man.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it's like
Mhm.
they keep figuring it out. And then, like I said, Giannis is playing out of his mind like he always is. Like he's playing better, controlling the game a lot better, taking correct shots. Drew Holiday, I think, is taking a step forward in his play, especially after the All-Star break, because he's killing it. The last 4 or 5 games, he's been going out of his mind. And then
been
Chris
on
Middleton is
fire.
the fallback.
Yeah,
So
Chris Middleton is Michael Jordan at home at the 5 Surfer at the 4 Surfer Arena.
Yeah, so he could literally sit for not do anything and have 11 points going into the fourth quarter and score 15 in the fourth quarter just because he's that clutch. So I don't see anybody beating them. And then that second team, I feel like I want to say Miami. I want to say it's going to be a Miami Bucks return, but I want to just see what the Nets do. Like if the Nets could figure it out, right? If Ben Simmons comes in and just it's seamless, which I think it is because he's not a guy who really needs the ball.
Right.
If they make it seamless, I think they find their way into the Eastern Conference Finals. But like they go through a few issues, if Ben Simmons misses some games or some time at the end of games and can't be on the court because they fouling him or hack a Ben Simmons or something.
Or Kyrie just doesn't want to show up.
I'm still big on I believe that they'll pay that fine during
Oh yeah. That's they doing that. Like I think that's what they're actually waiting on. They're probably like, you know what? Don't worry about the regular season. It is what it is. But when playoff time comes and we need Kyrie to play home games, we paying that fine. It is what it is. They got the money.
Pay that fine. I don't think they have an issue with that. So if they pay that fine and then it just works out, I don't see them not smoking everybody except for the Bucks and maybe the Heat. I think the Heat would be a close game, but like everybody else, they blow through. Simple and easy. So I see it's those two: Miami, Bucks. What I say, Grizzlies, Suns.
Grizzlies, Suns. Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the Bucks is going to turn it back up and win 2 in a row and show players that they don't have to create teams.
Oh, okay. All right. Here you go. Here you go. We're gonna act like the Bucks don't got a big 3 that they didn't go out and spend all this money to get Drew Holiday. But needless to say,
that was good trading and good work.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Kurt Rambis will take some notes.
Eric, go ahead.
Oof. All right, in the West, I still like the Suns. Still like the Suns and Warriors. I think for me is at some point, Draymond's gonna have to come back, right?
Right.
He's gonna come back towards the regular season, towards the end of the regular season.
I only say this about Draymond because of the back injury. That ain't no like, it ain't no like regular like it's like a muscle or nerve issue. Back injuries usually don't go away, and he's only getting older. And like they're literally relying on him because he's clearly he is everything for them.
He's the glue guy.
Yeah, so it's just tough for me to kind of like put stock into that. Again, I could be wrong, and we'll see. But I just feel like the back issue for me is just the question. And like I said earlier, the young guys, the Warriors are going to be relying on them a lot to help them through in the playoffs, and they have no experience whatsoever. So
that's what I was been saying. I think that they actually held Draymond Green out longer. I don't know how serious the back injury is, but like I think they held him out longer than he needed to be to give those young guys some experience. Right, in close games, tight games, tough games, to give them some, some get them from being green behind the ears in the playoffs when they're going to need people like Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga to actually play well. So I don't know if I think this is more calculated. I don't know if Draymond Green is out because he's hurt.
I can see that.
That's my thing. Is like he may be out for the regular season, but they're gonna like make sure he gets wrapped up for the playoffs. Right. That's more important than having him play regular season games, just like to get himself in shape. That's why I still like the Warriors and I still like the Suns to get to the conference finals. But the Denver Nuggets are a sleeper team no one's talking about. Because you got Jokic. I know they've been struggling a little bit here and there, but they won 4 straight. But also they're getting back.
Since the All-Star break, they got one of the best records in the league since the All-Star break. They're 7-1. So.
But also they're
gonna pay some in 50 games, bro.
Also, Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, they're on their way back.
So
So
I'm going to retort.
they are a sleeper team that can at least knock off at least maybe the Warriors
Can
or the Grizzlies.
Can you really believe that Michael Porter Jr. is a piece you can rely on, though?
I'm not looking to be my main guy to rely on.
No, he's
I'm
not. Like,
looking. I'm
obviously,
looking.
it's
I'm
Jokic
looking.
and Murray, but like at the same time, like you're gonna need that. You're gonna need him to be the third option, right?
Yeah.
I
Or
don't know if Michael Porter. He don't put the ball on the floor. He don't go to the rack. He don't do nothing but catch and pull.
Yeah,
That's all he
it.
does.
He got one
Also-
button on his controller.
but also I still got Monte Morris. I still got
And
Aaron
that
Gordon.
square.
I still got Will Barton. So I can
I
still
ain't
play
sold.
around. I could still play around with those three, and also easing Michael Porter Jr. little by little. So but I still got the Warriors and I still got the Suns in the West. In the East, I still like the Bucks. They're the odds-on favorite to come out the East. No one's still talking about them, even though they're the defending champs. I know everyone's talking about the Nets, KD, Kyrie. Hopefully, Ben Simmons comes back. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I like the Bulls, man. I like the Bulls. I like the Bulls to come to get there. Because also Caruso's gonna come back. They need Caruso. Once he comes
Any
back.
timetable on Zoe?
Look at him shaking his head.
Yeah.
You sick.
Didn't
Didn't
why didn't the Lakers pay him? Why didn't the Lakers pay him?
I read
that's
that
my answer. That's my question.
For,
why didn't the
asked for
Lakers
less
pay
than
him?
what he got.
He asked.
Right?
He asked for so what? What was the contract he got? I'm gonna look it up right now
It
because
was 4 years.
Yeah, I
it
don't
was
remember
4
what the
years.
number was.
It was 4
years,
years, like
34.
34 million, something like that. He asked lower than that to stay with the Lakers, and Rob
And they
Pelinka was
was
like,
like,
nah. And it's crazy because the story came out that LeBron actually pushed for Caruso to stay, but they didn't want to pay the tax. So I'm just like, what? Like, y'all the Lakers. They didn't want to pay the tax. So they were just like, yeah, because of, the tax implications and stuff like that, we're going to let Caruso just walk. I'm like, here's the thing. Like, all right, I'm okay if you're going to let Caruso walk, but like, you got to trade him, like get something back in return. They did the same thing with Dennis Schroeder. They let him just walk for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, get something back in return. Like, I'm depressed again. Bye.
All right. Anyway, so I like the Bulls and the Bucks to me in the conference finals. Okay, so one, they have a little brouhaha because Grayson Allen, what he did to Alex Caruso.
Okay, Eric, I'm gonna challenge you on this though, really quick. You say the Bulls, right? But the Bulls are 0-14 against the top 3 teams in the East and the West.
I know.
0-14. So to me,
is,
they're front runners. That's just in my opinion. I'm just saying, if you can't beat the top teams at all year long, that's a problem to me. That's a problem.
Listen, I was wrong. I was wrong on the Bulls for the start of the season. They surprised me. I just think on the surprise factor, like Caruso and Lonzo Ball. Hopefully, Lonzo. They said I don't know, like a couple of weeks he should be back, maybe before the end of the season. So maybe, but DeMar DeRozan, he's been balling, man.
Yeah, but and I hate to do this because I always do this. I always do this stuff, but like I'm the animation of the show, so I'm gonna go there. Alex Caruso for one, right? I love Caruso. He should have stayed a Laker, but when he was the primary defender in the Phoenix Sun series, he was getting super cooked by Cameron Payne. That's one. Two, DeMar DeRozan, has he shown you in any time point that he has been a very clutch player in playoff moments? Has he shown up in the playoffs?
No, that's not fair. You can't do that.
Why? Why is that not fair?
Because you had to play against
LeBron.
Yeah, that's
and
they had to go through Cleveland with LeBron.
Name a player that's beat LeBron multiple times in the
There's no
playoffs.
LeBron in the East. There's no LeBron in the East.
So there's no Kevin Durant. There's no Giannis. There's no Embiid in the East.
I know.
I don't believe
But
in the Bulls at all. Like, I don't think that they're ready. I think they're still like a piece or so away. Not a superstar, but just like
You
a
said they need
more
a defensive
consistent piece.
wing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're like a piece away. So like they'll have a really good
They should have
ending to
tried to
their
get
season.
Jeremy Grant, in my opinion, but yeah.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
also, my sneaky team. Watch out for the Boston Celtics. They've been balling since January. I listen. I know. It's yeah.
Oh,
It's
Laker
painful.
hate to the
Laker hate.
Celtics.
The
You
Laker
would
hate to the
never hear
Celtics.
me. You would
Laker hate to
never
the
hear me
Celtics.
give any praise to that
Listen
leprechaun.
to that morbid franchise, Boston
Yeah,
Celtics.
I was standing with Kyrie. We had to clean his sneakers on the logo. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, Celtics. But it's all good because we all know Jason Tatum going to be a Laker soon. You know what I'm saying? But that's
Not
that's happening, brother. That's happening. Be
go
prepared. Jason
go
Tatum
to
will
the
be a Laker.
Lakers.
He don't wear that Kobe
Oh,
band for no reason. I'm telling you.
right.
He, come on,
Yup.
son. And
Yeah.
he posting every time he played Lakers, he posted pictures of just him, not the team, just him with the with the Laker court and all that, just him.
Okay.
Yeah, we know what that is. We know what
If he
that
does
is.
go, he's gonna wait till LeBron leaves. So I
Yeah, of
guess you wait
course.
another 3 or 4 years.
Nah. LeBron after next year. LeBron, listen. LeBron's gonna sign an extension, right? He'll be there. Next year's the last day of his deal. He's gonna sign an extension. He'll be there for 2 more years, and he's out.
98 million. Oof.
Yeah, 2 years, 97 mil. That's all right with an opt out. It's cool. The Lakers franchise always does. They always do that. They always give. Kobe got that big deal
Yeah,
before.
big deal before.
That's what they do. It's what they do.
It's
So
like a retirement check. Here
yeah,
you go.
it's like here's your
Thank you for your
401k
service.
package. Thank you for the chip. We're gonna
Yep.
get another chip. Let's put that out there. We're getting one more. But
With
needless to say,
LeBron?
yeah. Okay, watch. I'm telling you, watch it. I can't say what I want to say because I got some information, but I'm telling you right now, you'll see. Watch
It
this
don't
summer.
matter who they trade for. That team is still skeleton. They suck. That team is horrible. They can trade Russ and go get Bradley Beal. They still gonna have D-League players on that team. They still gonna get their ass whooped. It's
Okay, all right, we'll see. We'll
it's
see.
over.
We'll see.
It
We'll
is
see.
over.
Anyway,
like I
so
said.
so those are my picks.
Okay.
Warriors,
Okay.
Suns in the West. In the East, you got I like the Bucks and the Bulls.
Okay.
All right. I'm running.
I'm
I'm here with you, brother. I know. I'm here with you. Don't worry. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Go ahead, say the
Oh, please,
Lakers.
y'all
All
be
right.
fine. Y'all be
Go ahead,
fine.
say the Lakers and just pick the other three.
Jeez.
Go ahead. We know that's what you want.
Man, like the Suns been on a tear this entire season. It's been really, really, really consistent. I know. I hate to say it, man. Also the Warriors as well too. Now that you put that whole Draymond thing into perspective, it actually makes a lot of sense. Because it was kind of weird to see what they was going to do, relying on the young guys. Otto Porter and Jordan Poole without a defensive identity, because that's one of the reasons why they've been terrible these past couple of games. They just haven't had it. The personnel on the floor to be able to defend, and that's why they're getting outscored. And the game is going really high into the charts, and they just can't manage right now. As far as the East, it gets really tricky, especially with the whole Brooklyn Nets situation. But obviously had the Bucks, and I got Miami. I got faith in Miami. I want to see how VO fits into the entire equation. But the Miami Heat, just that energy when the playoffs start, when the postseason starts, it goes up. We see what that looked like in 2020, even though it was a bubble year. The best team won at the end of the day, but that Miami Heat energy is very different, man. It's very different. So I got Miami and Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay. That Miami energy was talked about in the bubble, and that was non-existent. Anywho, so what, Jamal? Go ahead. What you gonna say? Okay.
No, I was actually going to say that Miami makes me nervous just because from what I've seen, too much talent could be a problem sometimes.
Yes, it can.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the best of coaches and the best coaching staff and the best players that could manage, attitudes and personnel, too much talent could be an issue. So, like, for me, what are they going to do when the Morris comes back, and Vic is in better shape, and Jimmy Butler's ready to go, and now they got PJ Tucker and
Tyler Hero was
Tyler Hero,
Duncan
Robinson.
and
Yeah, they
Bam
have
Adebayo. Don't forget Bam Adebayo.
It's too much, yeah. And then they got
don't forget Kyle Lowry, man.
Yeah, Lowry and Gabe, and there's a lot. They got a lot of pieces that I'm unsure of how they're going to figure those rotations out. Because, again, when you have a lot of talent, you just go pull from your talent. You don't really push them back. So, are you going to keep 11 guys in the rotation, or are you going to pull back to 9 and just work from there? It's going to be fun to see, but I don't know. It makes me nervous to figure out who's going to be the guy, because obviously they don't have one. Jimmy Butler's the closest, but
they're actually my sleeper in the offseason to kind of make a big splash, because they got so many good pieces. For me,
go get LeBron.
Go get
LeBron.
So me and Jamal had this conversation. Was it yesterday? That he's the Lakers should just trade LeBron James to Miami to get picks and get Tyler Hero, maybe Victor Oladipo or something, and pair him with AD, see what happens. I told him the Lakers are never in the game of rebuild or developing young talent. Lakers have always been in the game of star hunting. So I don't think it'll happen.
Those guys aren't young guys. Those guys can play. Tyler Hero's coming.
Ain't no stars.
He coming into his. Well, I mean, if you stay with,
ain't no stars.
If you stay with Anthony Davis, right? He's a super top 75 player.
Lakers
That's what I'm saying.
Shooting.
Go get
Eric. You don't understand when these shooters, when we get the shooters, they don't know how to shoot in the Staples Center or Crypto.com Arena, whatever you want to call it. They don't shoot when they get to the Lakers for some odd reason. It's annoying. It's annoying.
Well,
look at Kuzma's shooting percentage this year versus the last couple of years. Look at KCP. Look at all these guys. I don't know what's going on, man.
Right.
And the Wizards have fallen the face of the earth.
Yeah. Shout out to Bobby Marks, right, from ESPN, who was taking a shot at Russell Westbrook, and the Lakers was the Washington Wizards got a haul from the Lakers, and this is one of the greatest trades to go down in the NBA.
Let that go.
What happened, Bobby Marks? Explain that to me. Anywho, all right, so we're gonna conclude with my top 4, East and West, all that stuff, blah 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 blah. But we're gonna go. I hate to say this. I hate it. I really do. But he's one of the best coaches in the league, if not the best coach in the league. And if they get Kawhi Leonard and Paul George back, the Clippers are going to the NBA Finals. Unfortunately, the worst day of my life.
Next year. Next year.
But anywho, that's an asterisk. That's my if they get these guys back, the Clippers are going to be the best team in the West. They're way too deep. I don't know how they fleeced to get Robert Covington and Norman that to me was just what?
Crazy.
That was a setup trade. That was a setup trade.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe. I don't know. But needless to say, enough about the poverty team in the Staples Center.
They got wing defenders on top of wing defenders, bro.
They are a poverty team. What is their net worth? They got no rings. They got no banners. They got no conference. Nothing.
Just division titles.
Yeah, just leave. They're being evicted.
Division titles.
Just leave. Yeah. Right. And they got the Christmas Day banner up there, and they got the opening day game banner up there.
You know what? We can't talk. They beat us for
No, we can't talk, bro. No,
7.
We can't talk.
They was 7. I think it was 7 straight times. So that was including last year with you guys playing. But I mean,
yeah. I mean, did they win a chip?
They blew a 3-1 lead. Did they win a 3-1 lead?
Armani, did they win any trips in the last decade? Oh, okay, yeah. All right. So, needless to say, the Phoenix Suns it just feels like it's their year. They're one of the most complete teams in the West. I can't stand Jay Crowder and his salsa dancing self, but whatever. The Lakers never been right ever since that happened. I'm letting you know right now. So I do got the Suns.
Drummond still Harlem shaking.
Yeah, right. I do like the Memphis take. The Memphis to me just mimics a little bit of what the Hawks did last year, just better. But I think they fall short in the second round. Just sheer experience. Yeah, just off experience and So I got the Suns. I don't believe in the Warriors to get that far because I just don't like the Warriors, and there's so much riding on Wiseman to like produce for them. If they get a first round matchup right now as it stands against the Nuggets, you mean to tell me you're gonna throw Wiseman to Jokic and say, "Yo, try to contain him"? He's gonna get super cooked, and they're gonna have a very hard time with that matchup. But I got the Suns, and then I got the Mavericks in the conference finals. I just think Dallas defensively right now they're very sound. The duo of Dinwiddie and Luka has actually been really good. I just feel like Dallas may make some noise down the line.
So I here's the thing. I get that in the playoffs it becomes a half court game, but you just can't ISO to death. That's what Luka was doing last year against the Clippers. Luka could sit there and drop 50, but the team can't pull out the W, even
But
though he
Luka,
had a
that's true. No, you're totally right. But I also
right.
think now the way the team is made up now versus last year, they have a lot more go-getters that can go get their own shot. Luka does not have to set them up for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think getting Dinwiddie helps them out. Obviously, and they don't have Tim Hardaway Jr. right now. Like he's hurt.
It's still a perimeter threat for me, or either that is screen and roll, lob to Powell. That's what I see.
Like you have to, and you have to be able to respect that.
Right.
So I just think Luka's gonna play with a lot more freedom. Not playing with Porzingis and kind of worried about I gotta get him involved all the time because Porzingis is a diva. We all know that. So whatever, he can have fun in DC with Kyle Kuzma and the pink sweaters. On the East side, Milwaukee. I said this. Giannis is to me the most unguardable player in the league. They're one of the most complete teams. I agree with you, Jamal. They're not. I don't think they're losing like 4. No one's beating them in the 7-game series. To me, in my opinion, personally, I think they're going to repeat. But
Giannis
I got
that hunger, man. You can't deny that.
You can't
deny that.
You can't. The dude is starting to just pull up from 3. Like think about that. He's coming down court and just pulling up from 3, and he's making them. So like now, as a defender, you're like, I can't guard this man. Like being a freight train going down to the rim. Driving to the rim, and then now he has a jump shot that he can rely on. Like you can't build a wall in front of him now. He's going to shoot over the wall. Like you know what I'm saying. So I got the Bucks, and then obviously Chris Middleton turns to Michael Jordan when he's at home. Look at that Phoenix series. Every home game he was going off. Legit, every single home game.
He played a big part in that Hawks series too.
Yeah. Yep. So I got the Bucks. With the addition of Serge Ibaka. Think about the spacing.
That's crazy.
They could do at any given moment. They could have Bobby Portis or Serge Ibaka in the game. You have to respect their jump shots and their 3-point shooting. And then we're not even talking about Brook Lopez, who they're going to get back. Like they're a formidable team, and we need to like give them the respect because they're not getting any love. I think honestly, it's national media. Everyone like legit. ESPN had a segment and said, "Who would you rather start a team with, John Morant or Giannis?" I'm like, what are we doing? Giannis is a 2-time MVP, a defensive player of the year, and a finals MVP, and with a 50-piece triple. Like, what are we doing? So
it's a slow day at the office.
Yeah. It's always over there. I got the Bucks on the East, and then I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, but Kevin Durant, man, he's another player that you can't like game plan for. He gets what he wants. I think it all depends on what the Kyrie situation and how involved is he in there. And then the fit with Ben Simmons, I think is going to be very seamless. They got so much depth from that trade, adding Drummond. And it's what pisses me off about the whole Drummond situation is that last year the Lakers did not know a lick how to use him, and you look at him now, and it's just like even Philly, like the way Philly used him and the way Brooklyn's using him, he's so much more effective because that's how I envisioned Drummond last year. I'm like, we got Andre Drummond, he's gonna rebound, he's gonna block shots, give us more possessions with LeBron and AD. We're gonna be.
Jamal was there. We was parading around the break room when we got Drummond.
We definitely was.
Jamal was there,
and
I was there. I watched y'all parade, and I watched y'all go to hell home too. Yep, I was there.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say I got Brooklyn and Milwaukee And I got Milwaukee coming out of the East along with the Suns, and we got the Bucks beating them in 5 games this year.
So they're going back to back.
Yeah, they're going back to back. Giannis again, back to back Finals MVP. The Bucks. People really sleeping on them, man. Like they're so deep. We're not even talking about David Nwaba that can shoot. Like I watch the Bucks all the time because like Giannis to me is he gives off a lot of like Kobe vibe and like just like go after it. He don't care. Next possession, like so I tend to watch him a lot now. So it's just the Bucks to me are the best team in the league when it's all said and done. So there's my my predictions.
What's
But
tough is I'm looking at the playoff matchups. Like as of today, like things don't change. If Brooklyn gets the 8th seed and wins, or like is the 8th seed before the play-in and then wins, they get the 7th seed and get the Bucks first round.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that is not a first round
insane.
matchup. You don't like at the end of the day. Like if I'm the Bucks, I don't want that matchup like that early.
That's that's insane.
And Kyrie might be able to play.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, Jamal. Kyrie won't be able to play in Toronto, and he can't play home games. So, like, he won't be available for that play-in at all. Like, so let's just say they get to Toronto 7, right? Let's just say they get to 7. He can't play home games. If they're 8th, he can't play in Toronto. So it's just like it's a tough situation for him, for the Nets. So I think it's best if the Nets either do one or two things. They got to get to 6 or they got to fall to 9. Like that's just if they're not willing to pay the fine and all that stuff with the vaccine with Kyrie, like they got to decide what they want to do. But
yeah,
I just think overall
tough. They're like 5 games out of 6.
Yeah, exactly. So
then that playing tournament, Kyrie's not playing. That's what we're saying. Because if the Toronto's 7,
if they're playing Toronto, he not playing because he can't play home games and he can't play in Toronto.
so the Nets are going to lose to go to the next bracket of playing the 9-10. That's what they're trying to do.
And they're going to wind up being the 8th seed and playing Miami in the first round, which I think they can smoke.
Mm-hmm. Man, this is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. It's you know what I'm saying. The play-in is a real wild card here. Especially in the Eastern Conference. The Western Conference, again. If the Lakers somehow, by the miracle of Jesus who comes down to earth again and he blesses the Lakers franchise with some freaking power, that all of a sudden they get it together, yes, you can make a case. Listen, in my heart of hearts, in my heart of hearts, I think they have a puncher's chance still. I think there's still some time to get it together. If AD comes back and with enough time and they figure it out, they may click. But it's very far-sighted for me. But that's what's so interesting about the play-in because you don't know what's going to happen. Team. It's a 1-game scenario, so
it's like college.
Exactly. So evidently,
we seen that Grizzlies Warriors game last year. It really went down to the wire.
Yeah, and you the Laker game. LeBron saw 3 rims all of a sudden. Whatever, but but it's just listen. I'm just frustrated with the Lakers. So don't mind me trolling these guys. They just suck right now. But needless to say, I got the Bucks coming out. I just think they're going to be a formidable team to beat. They won't be able to be beaten 4 times in the series. Giannis is just too good, and yeah, that's just it. So. To conclude this night, Jamal, we want to thank you so much for being a part of the Swoosh Shoots podcast.
Appreciate you,
bro. We will have you on again as the playoffs come around and the Clippers fold. We're definitely going to have you on the show. So I could have my laughs on the couch where I'm sitting, because the Lakers won't be in there. So I gotta have something to look forward to. And that's the Clippers' demise. So with that being said, I want to conclude to say, really shout out again to the women's basketball, to just women's basketball in general as a whole. Get Brittany Griner out of Russia. Let's get her home. And let's hope we get some great college basketball coming up. From the men's and women's side, and a great NBA playoffs, and we'll see. We will see.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
But on that note, peace and love to all you guys. Until next time, tune into episode 20. We'll have a lot more to talk about next, and
And probably we'll do a tournament preview.
for sure.
For sure, definitely.
Jamal, you got anything in closing you want to say?
And go Knicks, man. We're gonna get into this play-in.
That's what I'm
Go
talking
Knicks.
about.
Go Knicks.
I do gotta say real quick about the Knicks. RJ Barrett. Listen. What was the game? He had went off for like 40.
Yeah, like 48.
48
40.
46 against the
It was
Heat.
against it wasn't the Suns, right? It was the Heat.
It was the
Against the
Heat.
Heat.
Yeah, the
And
Heat.
I just saw something different that game. I was like, oh, this.
He's confident.
Yeah, hopefully the Lakers can kind of pry Cam Reddish from you guys, but I don't think that's happening.
By the way, he's done for the season.
That's fine. We'll still take him. He's clutch. You heard? But
Oh man,
I just really like what y'all building towards. Obviously, it's all about Zion. Still about you guys. I think
1 ton.
Wow. I think Zion has no interest in being in New Orleans. Like it's clear about that. And I think obviously having the Knicks getting Cam Reddish with RJ Barrett, two of his close friends that he played with at Duke, they kind of I think laying the road for him and sending Julius Randle back to New Orleans. And he can have fun with CJ McCollum there. But yeah.
And Brandon Ingram.
and Brandon Ingram. But no, shout out to the Knicks.
And they beat the Mavs by 30 last night.
They did. And it's crazy? I don't think the Mavs have beaten the Knicks yet since the Porzingis trade in Dallas.
Luka's 0-4 at home versus the Knicks.
Sheesh. But
building. It's called building a franchise.
Y'all been building since what 19? Y'all been building since 1973. So
we actually been home run swinging like the Los Angeles Yankees over there. Like swinging.
You mean these banners that's right there, like the 17? I mean, how much is hanging in the Garden? Oh, okay. Yeah,
two.
Exactly. Yeah.
Two.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah. Hold those two. Okay.
We home run swinging, but we went back to building a team. So it's looking good. It's looking good. We can talk about the Knicks. I think the struggle for this year with us has definitely been the transition of power, is what I want to call it. I think Julius Randle is realizing that RJ Barrett's taking a step, and he's like the guy now. Like he's got to get his touches. He's got to get his 15 to 20 shots. And Julius Randle hasn't been able to figure out how to get his game in without taking away from RJ. So they're going, not saying it's a bad thing. They're just going through trying to figure that out. And I think they're figuring it out too late, obviously. But
they should have done it earlier.
Yeah, we'll work our way into getting close.
But that's also on your coach because he likes to play Taj Gibson 25 minutes a game in 2022. What are we doing? I'm just saying, like we have the same. We have
Jericho Sims.
Right. I like Jericho Sims. He's really good. But yeah, like you said, I just think, man, I have to go in a certain direction, and it's just about the smart thing. Honestly, is just
play out the season
trade Julius. You get pieces, draft picks, whatever, what may have you. I think you get a new coach.
Damn, bro, he just got there. Why we getting rid of him already?
Yeah, Tibbs.
Listen. No,
Tibbs.
Not a Tibbs fan.
Armani, let's sit back and watch this. Hold on, this is going to be epic right here. Go ahead, because Knicks fans they tend to argue amongst each other. But go ahead.
No, I like Tibbs. I mean, he's too hard on his players, but I like Tibbs.
I'll give him one more year. If they have the same year next year they have this year, then he's on the clock. That's all I gotta say.
I'm just saying.
I can see that.
Y'all got the New York Bulls over there. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Jamal, again, really, really thank you, man. This has been a pleasure having you on the pod, and we definitely look forward to having you on again, especially when the Clippers lose, like I said. So, needless to say, again, you guys be good. Have a good night. Be safe out there. Tune in again. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and share and be a part of the conversation. We'll also be having some Twitter spaces coming up, just to have some random discussions. Jamal, I want to have you a part of that discussion as well. Cool. And it's going to be some outlandish stuff because there are people out there, some weirdos on Twitter that just be saying it.
Right.
Yeah. So, and it's unfiltered. So, all the cursing and everything and all that stuff. We like to have fun with that. So again, thank you. And until next time, we'll holler at you guys.
All right. Peace.